founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, I've got Robert Lis, and we're going to be talking about social selling. Not something I know a lot about. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Robert's journey. And I know actually the audience quite often don't like journeys, but it's important in terms of the context of what Robert's came up against and how he basically has come and solved that. Before we get into that, Robert, tell people where they can get hold of you.
Yes, LinkedIn, definitely LinkedIn. As long as we talk about social selling, it must be LinkedIn. So you can find me as Robert Lis. I have slightly different glasses on my LinkedIn photo, and I'm looking towards one side.
Yes,
like Seth Godin. Okay, it's not a big secret. I copied Seth Godin famous photo. So then you find.
I copied his hair.
Seth Godin is like a big reference point.
So one of the things that give us some background in terms of, you work for a packaging company.
Yes.
Their headquarters out of Austria. Yeah. Their website is in English.
Yes.
It's written in corporate English. You work in Poland. You work in the Polish language. Therefore, in effect, you don't have. Explain all this stuff to us.
Yes. So in some way, you're asking why I think I reached for social selling. When I joined Mondi 5 years ago, I quickly realized that there is no full scope of marketing tools available to me, like the website. There is a website, but not in Polish. And for Mondi, just to give you a bit of background, Poland is a really big market, especially for this type of product I'm responsible for this division I work for. This is the company #1 in Poland in terms of corrugated packaging. So if you want to run modern marketing using digital tools, it was like a handbrake kind of pulled on. And I had a feeling 5 years ago, just a strong feeling that would be the way to go. But also I treated social selling as a kind of a gate to the digital world, and a gate that I could, use and be able to use the Polish language. And also, honestly speaking, I think it's not a big secret, and some people can emphasize, maybe the other marketeers, that some corporations are not really fast to act. They analyze too much. And 5 years ago, I said, perhaps it's not the perfect tool. And I still today say it's not the cure for, all pains, but when we act fast, at least we will quickly learn if that's the way to go or not. So digital access in a Polish language, and there was territory that was like really not controlled. So I could test and act really, really quickly. And for me, with my mindset, that was definitely the option worth considering.
So even though we're living in a digital world, your feeling is that people buy people.
I think in B2B, some people use this acronym. The B2B is human to human. Or,
human to human,
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a great question because well over 10 years ago, I moved from B2C, from consumer marketing, to B2B. And what I enjoyed almost immediately, that in B2B, regardless of most tools that you use, you don't hide behind TV, behind outdoor, behind the other ATL media. You talk to people. And during the event, during the live online digital event like we do right now, and you can see immediately the reaction of the people, whether what you say makes sense to them or not. And so this personal touch is definitely the way to go. And social selling is like one of the tools you can execute this human connection, let's call it like this, in the digital world.
So, I mean, one of the things I think that we've learned out of COVID is that actually we crave human connection. Even though we have all this hype around artificial intelligence, there was some research that came out last week from Ohio University in the States, where it said that when you sent AI generated content, people didn't like it. And one of those things I think is that buyers are not stupid, and we're all buyers in some shape or form. So we know we can smell a mile off when something's been created via ChatGPT or something like that. But one of the things that you said to me when we did the preparation for this was that corporate profiles are not trustworthy.
Yes, and I don't really remember whether you mentioned that in your book, but
is there a book? Wow.
Yes, that's your book. But I think I also saw some kind of research, but also you can really feel it. I know maybe some people would love to back their opinions, or they would ask me to back my opinion when I say that. But there is really nothing interesting in most of the corporate profiles. And the corporate profiles also, maybe buyers they don't know those processes that we have on the marketing side, but they are usually written by PR agencies and so on and so on. So this is like sometimes when I see that, it looks to me like a PR agency talking to PR agency. I don't want to talk to corporate profile. I want to talk to a real person. Or in other words, if I see a kind of inspirational, future-oriented content on a corporate profile, I would really see or would love to experience how a given people working for this corporation talk the same language. I would really to have the opportunity to get in touch with them. Probably I will never meet them in person, but I would like to see or hear them talking, for example, during the live event on LinkedIn. So it allows me to get this human connection with this very interesting thinking that a given corporation or given brand may represent. But honestly, maybe something can be changed, but I hardly find anything interesting when I follow a corporate profile. Maybe if it represents my interest, or I don't know, hobbies, I don't know, Apple or bike manufacturer, but this is very specific.
So when I mean, what happens? Just so you know, Andrew is a viewer of us a lot, and he's being sarcastic when he says he didn't know that I have written a book. Okay, so he's joking. And just so you know, LinkedIn user, the reason why it's coming up LinkedIn user is in your settings in LinkedIn, you're not sharing the data. And it'd be really great if you could just say who your name was or something like that. Would be great. And Andrew, thank you so much. I can always trust you to. So Robert,
yes,
corporate profiles are untrustworthy. So what you sell, in effect, the packaging, your sellers need to be an expert.
Yes,
because they know more about packaging than the customer does.
Yes, they do.
And what they do as part of the sales process is actually say, I know I've been in packaging for 20 years. I know I can come in and help you. What you're doing, I wouldn't do it that way. If you do it this way, it might look better, and those sort of things. And that's what people, and I think from a B2B perspective, all salespeople are experts in some shape or form.
Yes. And here, I mean, there are a couple of things that come to my mind, but I remember one sentence from a friend of mine who used to own a very nice B2B advertising agency, Darek Borowski. He said that the thing is that, exactly as you said, all your sales representatives, the salespeople, they are experts. They know almost everything that we could take out of them and sort of use as a content on LinkedIn. The small thing that we have to make is we need to make the world realize that they are the experts. So you don't need to change them as such. You don't need to pump, a new knowledge to their heads because they already know it. We just need to tell the world they are the expert. I'm the expert, and LinkedIn is just a tool to do it because it doesn't force you. So now I'm referring. It doesn't force this messaging to people, like cold mailing, cold calling. You can read the post or the message anytime you want. Of course, as long as it's not pushy. But okay, we are now coming to the shape of content.
But as the buyer, I'm the person that's making the decision, aren't I? I'm scrolling and I'm going boring, 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 boring,
Exactly.
boring, boring. That's interesting. I didn't know about packaging. Did you? And that's the point where you're making the connection digitally, aren't you?
Yes. I mean, yes and no, because if the question relates to what type of content we should produce, I think it's about. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I understood the question properly, is to inspire, to educate. The phrase, maybe it's overused, but if somebody really doesn't know what to write about, is simply help. I think there was a famous sentence: selling is helping, or helping is selling. So as long as you explain, as you inspire, as you talked about the future, when you point to challenges, better ways, best practice, and you don't say that we are the best people in the world to do it and only we will help you. You just simply try to give the best practice. Then if it's, unbiased, not pushy, sometimes funny, sometimes not perfect. So authenticity is a big thing to consider. Slowly it will start get traction. Of course, there are more creative ways or producing content that will make you stand out. We did a couple of things, and I remember situations where after 9 or 10 months, we completely overturn somebody's visibility on LinkedIn. He was no longer a salesperson, he was an expert, but an expert that the other experts ask for opinion. Technically, he was still a salesperson.
Yeah. So Robert, just what's been interesting for me is the fact that what you did, you started off small. You run a couple of pilots.
Yes.
You had an opportunity to do something, and you said, "I'm going to try something out." So you had we've got about 8 minutes. So in terms of, you had a retail salesperson who found they around e-grocery. So it was.
Yes.
I can't name the company because it was Deliveroo, in case you don't know what e-grocery is. But you basically, the person, I think you had a piece of inbound, and anyway, you kind of built something. And while it didn't turn into a sale, it was an opportunity to work, wasn't it, on social?
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
How we build it? Yes.
Yes.
So we had an idea that the company can provide this corrugated packaging to e-grocery companies, mostly in Poland. When you order something through Global, Uber, etc., your groceries will be delivered in a plastic bag. And this guy came up with an idea, what he called unboxing e-grocery, and there was a hashtag that he will test every company that does e-grocery. He'll simply test the service and describe it. So by the way, guys, listen to us. This is an idea for content. Simply document the reality. And he was always writing about the good things. We don't try to criticize people, but when something didn't wrong, then it was a great content for a one-on-one message or one-on-one video message. So you already can see several components of how you can communicate with prospects on LinkedIn. And after, 10th kind of test, he was being asked, "Hi, Mateusz, we are starting our new service. Would you be so kind to test our service?" That would normally not happen. And after a few months more, a research agency producing new report on the Polish e-commerce asked him whether he can comment on the state of things in terms of the e-grocery situation. The same with other logistic advisory agency. They also ask him for comments. So if you talk about wins, because some decision makers might be most interested in what's in it for me from social selling. So we had leads, but we also had what I called not sales related wins, meaning publicity, presence in important reports for which we spent €0, nothing. And this guy really was recognized in the world of e-grocery or this type of e-commerce. And it all took, believe me or not, around 8 to 9 months. So I think it's a kind of a bookcase example.
You also had another one around white goods, didn't you?
Yes. The white goods example is maybe we are slightly touching account-based marketing here. Imagine just several big white goods brands in Europe. They had to transform their packaging. They can no longer use EPS. And one of the ways to go is corrugated packaging. And it was very nice or interesting or inspirational project because it was started several years ago when we knew that all those legislations that now people talk about, that they would probably introduce. We didn't know when. And we also knew that you won't implement this change quickly. And because the number of decision makers, because I think you can count the white good brands that produce big stuff like washing machines, you can count them on the fingers of your hand. We started to find those people and produce content that doesn't say, guys, there is a problem and it will be really important for you in 2 or 3 years' time. But we said in 2 or 3 years' time, there will be a big change. In order to make this transformation, you need to prepare. And here is what we think. And we told them very openly through posts, one-on-one messages, that we are evaluating this solution or that solution. Here we failed. That works, and that works as well. So we were absolutely authentic. And so this content was really like showing us that we don't know because no one knows. No one has ever made this transformation. And this way, of course, there was, the classic work that you had to do. I mean, classic on LinkedIn, you have to build your network and so on and so on. That was like the basic that had to be covered. And this way, I could say, when we wanted to get in touch with head of procurement at a very big organization producing white goods, for example, in Italy or in another country, to get the meeting after sending an email a message on LinkedIn, it took us 30 minutes with the head of procurement for the half of the world. Why? Because this guy, for whom we did it, was already recognizable. He was not, just a sales representative.
Not just another salesperson out there.
Not just another salesperson, exactly.
There's also you've also done some stuff around personal branding, haven't you? So you've looked at logistics experts, retail experts, things like that.
Yes. I think you could say that there are 2 ways that I work with them. I try that those people that are really important opinion makers in those industries are known to our key accounts, or the other way around, that our key accounts know them. Because, for example, if we talk about the e-commerce and we do a webinar, it's great to have an expert. And because those experts, they see that our approach to content is like, in short, to give value and not to promote our brand and talk by us. It's definitely value, solving problems, inspiration. They engage with us as well, meaning they are willing to give their personal brand to us and, for example, become a guest in our webinar on something like this. We don't pay any money for that because we became credible for them. But I also do my marketing. My marketing, would sound as a personal brand. I also use LinkedIn or social selling when I do marketing for the organization I work for. So if I do an event and I would like to invite them, I do it myself. But I'm not just a guy out of nowhere, but they see it's like a credible profile. And when they see the samples of the marketing we do, they can, see themselves that it's not a, cheap stuff, and that they simply would lose a bit of their image if they would engage with us. So this is like a a proof that we are safe for them. Yeah.
Robert, thank you so much. I mean, I could go on talking to you for ages about this.
Me too.
But thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. The 20 minutes goes so quickly. As they say, time goes fast when you're having fun. Remind people where they can find you, and the answer isn't Poland.
If they want to meet me for coffee, the answer is definitely Poland. But if they want to get in touch with me in a far easier way without flying or driving, that would be LinkedIn. Robert Lis. That's a very, very simple sentence. And Lis, by the way, is fox in English.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
3 letters, both languages. Robert Fox.
Yeah, excellent. And thank you to everybody that made a comment, and thank you for Andrew for pointing out that somebody around here has written the book. I appreciate that, Andrew. Robert, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us today. Appreciate it.